Hi, welcome back to Forged in 5. This episode we're going to finish up the BUKRI and look at the stuff we stabilized last week to see how that looks. While we're doing that, we're going to take a few minutes. We got a really good question, a couple of questions from a longtime viewer. Raised some interesting points, and I'm going to go over those right now really quick before we get started working on the knife. What is the stabilization? It's interesting, but why? Are the vapors going to hurt your vacuum pump? Maybe you need a scrubbing vessel before the pump. What if the foam comes up too much? Will that get into the pump? Those are good questions. The whole purpose of stabilization is we've got this piece of walnut right here. And this is the knotted end. A useless piece of wood. Well, we can put some acrylic on here and make a really pretty set of scales, duck call, candlestick, whatever. But before we can do that, for the acrylic to stick properly and not have a ton of bubbles, we need to stabilize this. And what we're doing is we're taking all of the air out of the wood and we're forcing some sort of a stabilizing agent, whether it be cactus juice, whether it be the polyurethane like we used. And that makes the wood stronger, less brittle, and it also gives something for that acrylic to latch onto so that it holds as one big long piece. We also do it for like this piece of cherry. Well, what this did, it kind of changed the color a little bit, but it extends the life of the wood. You have a real brittle piece of burl, you're not going to be able to use that for knife scales or much anything. You stabilize it, it gets deep into the wood and it binds it together. It makes a fragile, useless piece of wood have a purpose. You can also put different colors in here. So let's say I wanted a piece of cherry with some blue hints to it. I would stabilize it. I'd put a little bit of blue dye in the polyurethane or the cactus juice or whatever I use and push that into it, and I'm going to have nice little blue streaks going along with the grain. Or if I have a piece of porous wood that just absorbs it all, the wood would turn blue or green or purple or whatever. And last but not least, the same thing with this pine cone as with the piece of black walnut before. The pine cone is very porous, very fragile if we were just to cut it in half. We stabilize it. I'm going to put this in some resin as well and cut it down the middle and make a set of scales out of this too. I couldn't do that until I stabilized it in the polyurethane first. As opposed to the vapors harming the vacuum pump I have is a special pump that is used for this purpose. It's used for vacuuming and forming model airplane parts. So the vapors aren't really going to affect it too much. It's got special filters on it. That would probably be something you want to do on yours. If you just get a medical grade vacuum pump, you might want to have a scrubbing filter on there to keep those vapors down. And then the last little bit he had here is the froth. That jar is big enough and the pieces were small enough that I wasn't worried about the froth. If I was using something this size, then I would have this one with a line coming out, have my wood in here, have it weighted down, and I would have a line going to another jar, just like this, and that line would come down into the bottom, and this jar would be half full of whatever the stabilizing solution is. And then I would have a line going to the vacuum pump. That way when it's pulling, you only have that much space. Well, that foam we had in that last one would fill that up and go back into our pump. So if we had something this small, all that foam would come over into the other jar, and this other jar would catch it. And then when we release the vacuum would push extra juice through the pipe into this one and fill it up to the top. So we have a complete seal. So if you have something this small, yes, you're going to want to have another jar in between it and your vacuum pump. Something as big as what we had over there, no, because it's going to be able to keep all that foam down. Thank you. That was fun. When you guys ask questions, it gives me a chance to interact with you and impart the knowledge I'm getting doing this as well. I'm not an expert on this stuff. A lot of this stuff, like the stabilizing, that's the first time I've done this. I learned a lot doing it. So if you have questions, ask. I love answering them for you. That's the whole purpose of this. Now, let's get back to what we came here for. Let's get this thing finished up so we can start hacking some stuff with it. We got to do a little more polishing, put the handle on, and then we're done. Pretty, isn't it? We're almost done. Just got to do a little cleanup here. You can see around the garden. It's kind of gross. But during the cleanup, look what I found. See those nice dark marks there? It's called spalting. When you have a piece of spalted wood, that's where the wood has started to rot and decay, and other minerals are moving in and taking place of that wood and giving you these nice dark streaks. This is very, very early stages. Normally, if you have spalted wood, it's really, really brittle, and you have to stabilize it. Where have I heard that? That's right, last week. So, if you're a little confused as to what that is, pause, watch last week's video, then pick up right here. I'm going to wait. So, let's get this guard cleaned up. Got some oil for the handle. Get that nice and pretty. And then, it's on to testing. Now we're going to put some tung oil on the handle, make it nice and shiny. One thing we need to point out is when I was drilling out for the tang, I drilled too deep and made a boo-boo. And so I filled that up, and we're going to see if we can make this thing look pretty. So, here we go. Tung oil is pretty easy. Kind of gob it on there. See if we can get a little bit more than that. That is a magnificent transformation. Alright, I think that's all we're going to get rubbed in there for tonight. So that's, we're going to make a quick 1-minute video for Instagram. Don't forget to check that out. There we go. That's one coat. We're going to let this dry overnight. And then we're going to take it and we're going to hit some stuff with it. See how tough it is.
Carving a pumpkin, carving a pumpkin.
No, I'm carving the pumpkin.
No, I'm carving the pumpkin.
I'm carving the pumpkin.
You're stupid!
You're sitting there feeling your hands. I'm actually carving
my eyebrows
the pumpkin.
itch, but I'm carving a pumpkin, so it doesn't matter.
I gotta find these kids. Where are they at? Gotta get to this contest. Where'd you guys go?
You gotta put it on this side. This side. No, this side. This side. This side right here. The markings are this is the side. Oh, hey.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you again to everybody on Instagram. We've hit 1,300 followers. We're going to do something special when we hit 2,000. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it's going to be in the next couple of weeks. And we're probably going to hit 5,000 by Christmas. Tune in to the next episode to find out what we do next. Hey there, did you like what you saw? Great. That is the button to subscribe. That is the button to take you to a random video. Also, don't forget to like, please comment, and share the video. Let's get better together. Thank you.